Welcome everyone to Podcast The Deadly Spell, Episode 2. I'm your host, Tony. So, I have actually here a very special guest today, actually a horror journalist, so we get a little bit of integrity here. So, hey, tell the good people who you are.
Hey, I'm John Lepper. I'm the owner and one of the writers for thebloodshed.com. Also producer, actor, and special effects artist.
Hey, the whole kit and caboodle, really cool. So, thank you for joining us. So, I asked you to come on board for the show today because I think we have to really talk about something that's really interesting that happened this year. Because 2014, holy shit, just what a great year for the horror genre. I mean, what do you think about the whole thing?
I think there were a lot of pretty good horror movies in 2014. Certainly more than you usually get in a certain 12-month period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree entirely. I mean, just like before we begin, I just want you to ask, what do you think that we have seen just like this really interesting development, this insurgence of genre films. We've had things, like one of the biggest films was Guardians of the Galaxy. We had Babadook just come out of the blue and just wow everybody. Is there any reason why you think this might just be,
Well, I think Babadook. I think it's just. I don't know what it was about that film. It was just a very interesting concept. They did a lot of really good marketing. Got a lot of people aware of the film, and overall it was just really well received because it's unique. It's a novel concept.
I agree entirely, and I follow the critic screenwriter Robert C. Cargill, and he actually had a very interesting thing to say. He said that he thinks that, and we saw this actually in the 80s, that there's just every once in a while that there's just like a sudden shift of just interest from very hard-boiled reality and suddenly to just genre. And you notice, the dates I always like to talk about is 82 through 84, where just suddenly we just had this huge for lack of any way to say, just mess of genre movies, and then suddenly it just dried up, and now it's back again after 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So especially in horror, because it's interesting. I just think it's interesting because in general, I feel like the Hollywood horror film is just not working out. We had Oculus, which was very good, but on the other hand, we had
Devil Due. Ew.
Oh boy, and Ouija, whatever it's called again.
Oh God.
I can never say the word right, but what do you? And I also like the latest Paranormal Activity film, which mind you, I'm a big fan of the first three, but it seems like it's just peter off in the worst way possible. And just your thoughts, why do you think it's just Hollywood just has a rough time with with horror?
Because Hollywood plays it safe. You got these huge $1 million movies. They can't afford to take a hit, so they make these. They're not being creative. They're doing cookie cutter clones. Right now, what we're in. You see that the Hollywood horror movies go in periods. Back in the 80s, a large majority of it was the slashers. Going into the 90s, it became teen slashers. In the 2000s, you started getting all the Saw rip-offs, all the Saws once a year, even when they should have stopped after the first three. You get all the Hostel movies, you get all the torture porn. Now we're into paranormal, demon possession period. Everything's a rip-off of Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, I agree, because it's like that weird auto-cannibalism that Hollywood tends to have, that the independent film industry has a good idea, and then suddenly just Hollywood says, oh, well, Formula A works, let's just do Formula A over and over again. And
exactly.
but what I find interesting this year is that it seems like the genre horror film industry is almost turning that on its head. We've had a lot of excellent found footage films, demon possession films that just took it and just said no, this is how you do it.
Oh yeah, and we did have a lot of good movies this year. Most of them, again, they weren't in theaters.
Yes. And I think it's actually interesting because, like, I was an 80s kid, and so, like, I pretty much grew up on the whole, like, you go down to the video store and find all these wonderful, obscure thrillers. And now it's kind of happened again because, like, back in the day, especially in the 80s, and not in the 80s, but like in the 90s, direct-to-video was almost a dirty word. And now these days it seems to be, like, the thing to do.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many films this year that were just, no no streaming, no theater, just straight to DVD, and have been huge successes. I mean, honestly, naming one of them just off the top of my head, Starry Eyes. I've seen more positive mention of Starry Eyes than probably any other movie this year. Maybe even more than I'm going to tie it up there with Babadook, honestly, which was another direct to DVD. There's just been tons of praise for these films.
And yeah, especially, like, I have a lot to say about Starry Eyes a little bit later, but like yeah, it's just that and also too, there's a lot of surprises. I feel like also if like just of Hollywood horror, like you tend to know about there's no surprise, there's no mystery about it because you hear about it a year in advance. You see trailers that more often than not give away the ending, and then just kind of like you get like this monochrome, colorless product. Meanwhile, if like Starry Eyes, for example, that film took me by surprise. I had no idea that it was even going to be a thing, and just I got a screener. I said, like, oh, where has this thing been?
Yeah, that's great. That's one of the great things with these with the indie stuff is that sometimes it just sneaks up on you. I mean, one of the things I'm still looking forward to, it wasn't from last year, it'll be coming out at some point this year. Phantasm 5. No one even knew they were working on. No one even knew they were working on the thing, and then all of a sudden, here's a trailer. We're done. Yeah, we'll release it soon.
Yeah, just when I heard about it, just like, oh man, oh. All right, so on that note, I say we just take like a quick second break, and then we're going to get to the meat of the issue, because I want to talk to you, and I want the audience to hear about these wonderful independent horror films. Like some a little bit higher budget, some almost no budget, some even like home brewed, and I'm excited to talk to you about these films and just like have your thoughts about it. So on that note, yeah, neat. So on that note, we'll get back to you in a sec. So welcome back, everybody. So after that quick break, I want to start like just getting to like just these great films we keep on talking about. And I'd like to actually start off because we have a list of 10 films each, 20 films. But we actually have a few films that are on the same list because, like we always say, great minds think alike. So on the first film on my list is What We Do in the Shadows, from the same makers of Flight of the Conchords. And John, have you seen this film yet?
I have not actually seen that one.
Oh, you are in for a treat, man. You really are. Because just I honestly have not felt so much joy watching a comedy as I did this film. But let's just give the listeners a heads up about this film. So it's pretty much a mockumentary about these filmmakers. They're never addressed about the whole film, but they're pretty much, they found and are interviewing this house of 4 vampires. And they're very like the traditional like niche of the vampire genre. You have like the Vlad Tepes vampire. You have the Lestrade vampire from the Anne Rice novels. The Barnabas from the dandy from from Dark Shadows, and like the old Hammer films. And also the funniest thing actually is they actually have the and I want to get your input about this because they have like the Nosferatu vampire too. Is that what you call them, Nosferatus? Because like there's so many names for these things.
I guess that's what I would refer to. Are you talking the ones that look like they have the very elongated fingers and like the monstrous facial expressions, that type of thing?
Yeah, like the rat men, pretty much. Like pretty much like a big giant rat man. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would call them. I would call that a Nosferatu, absolutely.
Yeah, like all my fellow Del Toro fans say Reavers now after the Blade 2 movie, but that's neither here nor there. But like the really cool thing about this movie is that mind you, I am a huge fan of films about failure, just failure in general. Like people trying to like be cool, try to impress people, and just blows up. And that is like pretty much like what these vampires are. Like they're wrapped up in the idea of this mystique, like this sexy supernaturalness, and they are just so pathetic. It is just it's marvelous. But the thing is though about this film is just the banter, the witty banter between these characters, because just the whole story of the film is pretty much they're interviewing and things go awry when, and also like just to remind you, I'm not gonna do any spoilers. This is pretty much just the plot here, everybody. They play this game where they invite people over to their homes, and they pretty much torment them. And it is, mind you, even though this film is a great comedy, this is a moment where pretty much like you realize that these guys are monsters, and they torment them. They do like all like the cliche tricks, but very well done, very good minimalist effects, and and everything goes wrong, and they accidentally turn their prey into another vampire, and just pretty much that's where like all the drama begins. And I won't go on. I could go on forever about this film, but long story short, like just, and I kind of get that. Like you guys listening, you're not getting any more of this. Watch this film, buy this film, and like it goes into like this great vampire lore. It even goes into like werewolves. Like best thing about it is like pretty much like all these werewolves are just obsessed about anger control, because if they get angry, they turn and wreck their clothes, all that good stuff. So yeah, see this film, and I just want to say one more thing about this. The ending of this film is one of the most heartwarming endings I've seen in a horror film in a whole year of just like very bleak, depressing endings. So yes, that's my 2 cents about what we do in the shadows. Check it out. Your turn, man.
I'll definitely have to put that on my list. Let's see. The first one I'm going to say, let's talk about. I'm just going to go in the order I wrote them down. First one I got is Escape from Tomorrow. Now, have you heard of this one?
Yes, I have. Mm-hmm.
It's probably, in my opinion, it's probably one of the greatest achievements in guerrilla filmmaking history, just for what went into it. The plot of the film is basically it's very abstract. It's bizarre. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have, in fact. And when you're done saying your bit, I have just like a few thoughts about it too.
Okay, it's very bizarre. It's about this family. They go to Disneyland, or is it World? I forget which. But they go to one of the Disney theme parks, and the father experiences all these strange occurrences, and it's just weird things happen in this park. And the tagline is terrible. I think something like terrible things happen everywhere. And what went into this movie is just amazing. For one, it's filmed all in black and white, so it looks very, very like old-fashioned. Almost, it just adds to the abstract, surreal nature of it. But what went into making this film is unbelievable, because they did not get Disney's permission to make this movie. They actually filmed this in the Disney theme park without Disney's permission. They planned months ahead, things like the positioning of the sun. They put their scripts on their phones so that they wouldn't look like they were reading scripts in the park. Just the amount of work that they went into to film this movie undercover, right under the nose of the Disney Corporation, it's unbelievable.
And also on that note too, I actually have something very interesting I want to say about this film, about their the whole lack of backlash from Disney, because what they did actually I thought was very surprisingly mature, especially from a company as just coveting copyright at Disney. They decided just to ignore these guys, to just let them do their thing, because they figure it was not worth it. There was that whole controversy with the new the Grady Power Rangers, which I thought was actually almost one, I thought it was immature from the people who owned the copyright, and two, they gave them unintentional press. No, from a guy in journalism, no press is bad. All press is good press.
Yeah.
Mhm. And but yeah, I saw the film too, and I'm actually I have to say a little bit I'm a little bit iffy about it, because I feel like some parts are they try a little bit too hard. But I love the small world segment. That was great. And on a second viewing, and mind you, this isn't spoilers, because this happens at the very beginning of the film. And because like I say, when I first saw the film, I was kind of iffy about it. But when I saw it the second time, I thought to myself, oh my God, this whole film is a flashback when that guy lost his head at the very beginning of the film. and the whole film was like a delusion of him dying.
Oh yeah.
And when I saw it, good move, good move.
It's definitely. I mean, it's very creative, extremely abstract. I mean, it just blows my mind the amount of work that went into it.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, it's a miracle that things even in existence. I mean, just put it that way.
I agree, and just like I have a feeling that you can't do anything like that ever again. This was like a one-shot deal.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So, anything else you wish to add to it?
Not as far as that one goes. So, your turn again.
All right, sweet. So, my next film, and also just the viewers, I don't know about your list, John, but like my list it's no particular order because I feel like there's just been so many good thrillers this year, so many good thrillers and horror films. This list doesn't even scrape the surface. So, yeah. So let's just get on with it. So, my next film is Life After Beth. Have you seen this film?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I like this film a lot because a lot of people after Shaun of the Dead have tried the Zom rom-com, and it's just like it's either mediocre or it just doesn't work. But when I saw this film, which it pretty much the whole plot of the film is for our viewers that there is a guy and a girl. Guy loses girl. She passes away, and then he finds out that she came back and her parents are holding her secretly, and they're not showing the public like she's completely hidden. And the boyfriend finds out and tries to reconnect, and just zombie shenanigans ensues. And just what I really loved about this film was that it felt like what would happen if Woody Allen directed a zombie apocalypse film. And what do you think about this film?
Honestly, I've seen your list. This is probably the one film on that list that I have seen and really did not enjoy. This one here, I did a review for this one on my website. I just think it tried too hard, and I really did not enjoy the performance of Aubrey Plaza in this. I think she overacted in a lot of the scenes. Like in a lot of the scenes where she like flips out, I think she really overacted those scenes, and it just really takes away from it.
I thought just personally it added to the absurdity because just in my like the way I saw it, like it was a very absurd film. And especially at the very end, I say, I have like a list of like my top 10 favorite deaths, and just to give you an idea of like the number one is Lopan at the end of Big Trouble in Little China. That's my favorite death of all time. And when I saw the final death at the end of Life After Beth, it's just the most undignified, ridiculous death I've seen in a long time. And I was practically sick. I was laughing that loud. And so
I don't recall that one. I don't recall which death that was off the top of my head.
Oh, I really don't want to say it over the radio, but let's just say it involves a cooking appliance and a barrel roll.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember now.
I really don't want to give away to the public who want to if they want to see it. So so after that, what's yours? What's your next film?
Okay, next one I have on my list. Let's see, Flowers. This one, have you seen this one?
I haven't seen it. It's on my list, and I've just been hearing just stellar reviews about this.
This film is it's an amazing art film. This was one of the 3 winners of the Indie Award show that we did through the Bloodshed, the Golden Rake Awards. It had a near perfect score. It's an art film. It's an art horror film. It's probably the easiest way you can put it. It's very graphic. It's just amazing in the way it's done. There's actually no dialogue in this entire movie. No dialogue at all. But it's just a shocker. I mean, just the spectacle of it all. It's basically about this six dead girls. They've been killed by this man, and they wake up in the crawl space of his house. And it's a series of vignettes while they basically come to terms with realizing what has happened to them. The title comes from them. They are the flowers. There's flower 1, flower 2, flower 3 through 6. And it's very the special effects in this. They're all practical and they're amazing. Just the body horror that you will see.
Yeah, because of this film, I've actually been wanting to not read about it because just like because whenever I see like good reviews and a few bad, I tend to say to myself that I can read a synopsis of it. But when I see a near perfect score, I mean it's like when I heard about Starry Eyes, or if I heard about a film like even like Under Skin, which we'll talk like both films we'll talk about later. That when I see such high praise, I don't even want to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, but like the more I hear about it, the more I see it going up on my to watch list. And just like because like I'm a fan of like those artistic cerebral horror films, like old school David Lynch and films like that.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Well, this one here, it's going to be really hard to get a hold of now because they had a very, very limited DVD release, and it's actually already out of print. The only way you're going to be able to find it at this point probably is eBay. And I've heard, I guess someone was up there selling one copy of it for $100. So
yeah, that like do you still have Dustin Miller's film on your list?
Yes, I do.
Oh, like I have like a copy of like his first print of Heart Attack, and that thing has become like ridiculous in price over the years. So
oh wow,
yeah, like like short run DVDs, like hey, they're great for the fans, but come on guys, VOD it please.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's all I have to say on Flowers. What do you got next?
Next one for me is Honeymoon. A film I actually saw very recently. I actually saw like right before I saw What We Do in the Shadows, and now, see, I think that just with Honeymoon, it's just like it's an excellent example of sometimes you don't need horror elements in order to actually make a horror film, as like cliche as that sounds, because the strength about Honeymoon is the relationship between these two characters. Long story short, the plot of the film: a newly wed couple, this adorable couple, which actually is very funny because the lead actress is the wildling woman from Game of Thrones, and like they're like this adorable, perfect couple, and they're broke, but they spend their honeymoon in a family cabin, a cabin in the woods, if you will, and things start going wrong almost immediately because okay, I got like a little thing to say because one of my biggest fears like is not bodily injury, but the idea that of losing your identity, losing who you are, because just and this is going to come up again in one of my other film choices of the year, but just like disease like Alzheimer's freaked me out, and pretty much what happens in the film is after a very strange run-in with the wife's friends, old friends from the town, she literally starts losing her identity, and there's no explanation, and hell, there's no explanation in the film, even when you have like the really weird conclusion. But there are parts in the film when she starts looking in the mirror and pretty much reciting her life, saying, "This is my name. This is when I was born." Just like the way an actress recites her lines, and just and the husband's reaction, and just the whole strength of the film is just their relationship. I mean, it's almost like the same thing of Afflicted, which we're going to talk about later too. But just how this perfect relationship just dissolved, and to the point that this person lost her identity is just horrifying. And it's open to interpretation too, because is this a sci-fi? Is this a horror? Is this just a delusion in the protagonist, in the protagonist's head? It's not really too clear, and I just think that's just wonderful almost. I mean, it's beautiful in a very horrible way, and that's what I say about this film, because if I give away any more spoilers, that'll be pretty much unforgivable.
I actually have not seen that one yet. I am aware of it, but yeah, I haven't had the chance to watch it yet.
Oh, and I have to add too that this film also joins the ranks of this year as truly remarkable horror films that had such god-awful DVD covers. Think about this, Mr. Jones, Starry Eyes, just my God, such craptastic DVD covers. But that's neither here nor there. Tag, you're it.
All right, let's see what I got next here. Faces. This is another of the winners for the Golden Rake Awards.
Mm-hmm. And before we go on first, I don't think that our loyal listeners here, episode 2, and we have loyal listeners, haha. But tell all the good people what the Golden Rake Award is.
All right, well, basically the bloodshed, the whole thing with the bloodshed that I've been trying to do is trying to create a place where we can give indie films the attention they deserve. I mean, big sites like, Bloody Disgusting, Dread Central, they focus mostly on the mainstream stuff, the stuff you're going to see in theaters, that type of thing. I mean, they get paid big money by big studios to give them press. We focus mostly on the little guys. And as a result, one of the things that I try to do, I had the idea to do an award show. So I came up with the Golden Rake Awards. It's basically just a little tongue-in-cheek title. We are the bloodshed. It's a double meaning, kind of be, shedding blood or, a bloody shed. And when you find a shed, you find yard tools. So a golden rake. We have a lot of shed imagery and, jokes and stuff. So we came up with the Golden Rake Award. I made little trophies and everything. So we accepted submissions from 30 indie films from 2014 from all over the world. We had one in there from Hungary, we had one from Italy, a couple from the UK, one from Australia, and we had them all over the place. And the requirements were that the film have a budget less than $100,000 and a runtime of over 60 minutes. And so we had 3 winners, total of 10 nominations. We had a live streamed broadcast of the awards event, which had some technical difficulties, but I gather it was still pretty well received.
Nature of the business.
Pardon?
Oh, that's just the nature of the business. These things happen.
Yeah. And we had the Soska sisters, Jen and Sylvia Soska, were nice enough to co-host the event. They were on Skype. They actually presented the winners. Awesome ladies. We also had April Burrell, Chainsaw Sally. She came in as a special guest. My friend Sean French. He's the writer of indie comic Back in Maine. Escape from Jesus Island. We had Joe Chiari. He's the team leader of Paranormal Investigation Group here in Buffalo, Paranormal Crossroads Live. And overall, it was an awesome time. And I can't wait to do it again next year.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure to watch your show while working in my studio, and kudos to you. Just like an independent. Would you consider what you do a horror webzine or just like a review site? What would you consider it exactly in your words?
Website. It's a news website. It's a horror news website.
Mm-hmm. But just like to finish my thought, that it's just great that it's an independent horror site was able to get just cool people, like the Sosa sisters, for crying out loud. Good for you, man. I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, we rounded it all out with me proposing to my girlfriend live, so that was fun.
And I just seriously though, I thought it was like a gag when it happened. It's wait a second, they're serious. You go, dude. Really.
The Soskas, they were excited. I told them about it ahead of time. They want to come to the wedding now.
Damn, you're hitting out of the park, man. You'll be okay. Mm-hmm. All right, so
I was on to Faces.
Faces. Mm-hmm.
Yep, they were. It was one of the 3 3 winners of the Golden Rakes, made by Tom Ryan. Flowers, by the way, was made by Phil Stevens. Faces is an interesting film. It's been pretty successful. It's got a few awards already. It's been screening all over the place. It's about this guy who's recently gotten out of a institution and never actually clarifies whether he was in prison or some sort of psych ward. Numerous characters ask him, he never says. Uh, and he's taking meds. He gets off his meds, and bad stuff starts happening. The title of the movie Faces comes from the fact that as the movie goes on, he starts seeing faces pop up in the wall of his house that basically are telling him to do things, and it's a very original movie. Just really shows this guy's downward spiral into just homicidal insanity.
Mm-hmm. And I've yet to see this film, but like again, that's on my list, and that's another thing I really want to just push forward with this episode of the podcast. That like there are just so many great films this year in the horror genre, and just like anything else you want to add to that?
No, that about wraps it up for Faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So so the next one on my list, and this might actually be like one of the bigger films on my list. I mean, I'm not even 100% sure if this even like qualifies as independent, but Under the Skin is the next one on my list, and of course starring Scarlett Johansson and Glazer, who's done the movie Sexy Beast, and this film just it strikes me again as like early David Lynch at his best. The plot of the story is it's Scarlett Johansson naked. Okay, good night, everybody. No, seriously. The whole film is pretty much Scarlett Johansson is a being. We don't know what exactly. Is she an alien? Is she something supernatural? But what she's doing is she is finding men in Glasgow and seducing them, bringing them into into this black room, and they are pretty much encased in amber. And the strength of this film is just Scarlett Johansson, in my opinion, is the Ice Queen. Ilsa from Frozen doesn't have shit on her. Like, she is just able to have just like this icy demeanor and emote so much. And the whole premise of the film is pretty much it's mostly atmosphere. The score is amazing. The scenery of the Glasgow city area is both beautiful and grotesque, and the scenery of the wild, the forest is just it's beautiful. This is pretty much like a painting in cinematic form, and the film really does reach a peak is at the point that Scarlett Johansson's character starts literally becoming what she eats, and actually that brings me to like another thing that fascinates me about the film, because the film is, when you get down to it, it's the thing from the monster's perspective. That as it is devouring more and more, it is becoming more human. And there is this beautiful moment in the film where Scarlett Johansson's character, and I don't even think she has the character has a name, and she finds this man who has this very extreme facial disfigurement. And I say it's not appliances. Like, this is a real person who has this condition. And I have to commemorate this actor just on his simple bravery of taking on this role. I mean, this is like, and he is charismatic. He's fascinating. I mean, I had like flashbacks of Michael Berryman with this actor playing this performance, and it's very depressing because pretty much with this film, like at that point, that is the peak of the film. And I'm not going to tell you what happens in that situation, but there is a point that she starts forming emotions. Like I said, she starts becoming what she eats, and then like the horrible twist of the film is she hates it. She hates being able to taste. She hates being able to feel the cold. She hates feeling emotions, and just like it's just gloriously depressing. At least like a great feel bad ending. And like I say, and also just one final note before we move on. Like, this film is not for everybody. It is very slow, very quiet, based on, and most of it is just Scarlett Johansson just emoting. She just is able just to tell so much in just like a cold, glassy stare.
Yeah, I have not seen that one yet, but I'll definitely put it on my list. Sounds very interesting. Like
I say, just a warning, this film is not for everybody, but if you like Sexy Beast, I think you might actually enjoy this flick.
I'll definitely give it a look, absolutely.
So, Tag, you're it.
All right, let's see what I got here. Next up, let's see. Got this is one of the ones that we actually share. Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Now this one I almost missed out on it. I'm gonna be completely honest because I started it once and starting it I got probably 15 minutes in and it was just too slow and I actually turned it off. Then another day I gave it another shot and I watched it all the way through and it's a really good movie. It's done as a found footage type movie. Memory, I know it has at least some found footage moments. Was the entire thing found footage? It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's actually just like I'm gonna get to this in, like when you're done with your bit, but like I find actually it's just like it's a dismantling of found footage. Like at one hand it's a found footage film that suddenly becomes a documentary and then it flips right back to found footage.
Right. Yeah, it's got some really Lovecraftian elements in it. It's about this couple who basically go out into a wilderness to they move into this cabin way out in the middle of nowhere just to document their lives for a year, and they encounter Mr. Jones, who's this. They don't even know if he's a man or a creature. It's some sort of thing that's living out there. And,
if I can interrupt you, for a sec, I'd say he's like an urban legend artist. Like no one knows who he is, where he came from. He just creates these strange scarecrows, and he's like I'd say like a hidden like the hipster art community, and they just happen to stumble across him.
Exactly. And, no one has known who he was, but they find his scarecrows and put two to two together and figure out, this is Mr. Jones. This is who everyone's been talking about. We found him. And they realize, though, that what people are thinking of as art pieces, these aren't art pieces. This guy is not just making art. He's out there with a purpose. And it's turns out it's more than meets the eye. It's a very, very, very interesting movie.
Yes, what I loved about the film was this felt like a cabin in the woods for found footage movies because they take the tropes and they flip them around. Not like the idea like it's two people wandering out in the middle of nowhere and encounter this, and this, but like there's a point where you wonder, is this found footage? Is this actually happening, or is this just taking place in the characters' minds? Because like I was with this film from moment one because like the very beginning of the film, I could not help but think of like Resolution, which is like easily one of my favorite horror films in the last 10 years. Like I just love that setting. But like there was a point in the film where the girlfriend says to her boyfriend, who shot this footage? And just like oh God, and just like it cements the idea of this film. It runs on pure dream logic. I love a film that what they do is they go out of their way to set the rules A, B, and C, and it turns out you're all wrong. It's why I think that actually like Ring is such Ring and Ringu. Both films are just so great. You have these two characters who think they know the rules, they know what's going on. It turns out they are just wrong, and they're dealing with something that they can't control, and by interfering, they just made things worse.
Yeah, it's definitely extremely original concept. I mean, there's nothing else that even comes close as far as plot to this movie. I'm really glad I gave it a second chance, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so go on.
I just gotta say, because like I know everyone's thinking about this, but Mr. Jones and me. I had to say it.
That's all I have to say on Mr. Jones. What do you got?
So next one, this is like this was a film that I adored, and I'm gonna tell you why. My next film is Digging Up the Marrow, and you know what? And I know I'm gonna get like some flashes from some of our listeners, but this is the film that Tusk wanted to be. And have you seen Digging Up the Marrow?
I started it. I actually have not had a chance to finish it yet. I liked what I saw. Absolutely.
It is such a great It is such a great horror comedy. I it just
Very meta.
It's very meta, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's rubbing in your face. Like it feels like it's subtle. It pulls back. And the thing I liked about the film, it's a commentary about the horror industry. And I fell in love with this film. Have you gone up to the part of Kane yet?
No, I have not gotten to that part.
Oh, I don't want to spoil it for you. I really don't. But there's a point where Kane, and for our listeners, Jason himself goes into a studio to see this footage. And actually, no, sorry. First, I gotta tell our listeners about what the film's about. The film Think of the Marrow is pretty much a mockumentary, and it's being headed by the people who directed the Hatchet films, Frozen and Chiller, and they play themselves as very. They play them like exaggerated version of themselves, like very pretentious Hollywood type independent horror filmmakers, like very stuck up and arrogant. And the director of all those films comes across this man, a retired cop who claims he pretty much found the secret city that was in Nightbreed. And all these children that are born with severe deformities are taken down to this secret world. And he has known about this forever, and he contacted this film crew headed by the people who did all these films to tell his story. And at first it seems like nothing's really happening, because that's the beauty about this film, that it doesn't tell you everything. It leaves a lot to be interpreted. And just to get back to it, at one point they recorded footage of one of these quote-unquote monsters, and they showed it to Kane, the actor. What's his last name again? It escaped me at the moment.
His first name is Kane. His last name is Hodder.
Hodder. Okay, that's what I meant. What was his last name? Kane Hodder. They showed the Kane Hodder. The actor who's played Jason for so many years. He looked at the footage, and he had literally the same exact reaction that I would have had if someone said, "Oh, I have monster footage." And but I was guffawing. I was absolutely guffawing when I saw that. But the thing I love about this movie is it feels like it's a story. You have the Friday the 13th movies, where you had the mad old man saying, "Don't go there. This place is doomed. There is a blood curse." And it feels like that person is telling his story, and just where it goes and what you feel like what's really going on. At one moment it becomes a comedy, and you feel frustrated about this guy. He is he is just a mad old man. Then you feel like he's being difficult. Then you kind of figure out what's really going on. You feel sorry for him, and at the very end, it becomes a tragedy. You feel so bad about this character at the very end. And I have to commemorate the film again because I also saw the movie Clown not too long ago. That was produced by Eli Roth, and I was frustrated because there was a jump scare every few seconds.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
it's so lazy.
It's the horror film equivalent to a fart joke.
Yeah.
But what I love about Think of the Marrow is it does what every good horror film should do. You do just one jump scare, an earned jump scare, not a fake jump scare, and then you have to earn your second jump scare. You have to earn it. And that's why I feel why I enjoy it, even though a lot of people don't agree with me. That's why why I enjoyed the first Paranormal Activity so much. It earns its final jump scare.
Right.
And and that's how I feel about the film. It's great, it's funny, it's clever, great dialogue, awesome, spectacularly rubbery monsters. And I say, check it out.
I thought it was interesting. I just want to point one thing out. I want to say the actor who played the old man, the crazy old man. I don't know what his name is off the top of my head. I don't think a lot of people will recognize him. Have you ever seen him before in anything?
I did, but I forgot who he is off the top of my head, and I was running low on time, so I didn't do my research.
He's been on, I'm not sure, I don't even remember the name of the show. It's on one of those 15-minute long shows that's on Adult Swim some nights. It's like a news program. It's like a fat parody news program, and he plays a really old, almost stereotypical, over the top, insane war veteran guy in that show. And to see him in a serious role was really interesting. It was. I mean, I expect to see him just over the top insane, and he was in this, but it wasn't. It was more serious. It wasn't comical insane in this, to the extreme degree than it was on the Adult Swim program. But it was interesting seeing him do this different genre.
Yeah, I agree, and just like I think that actually adds to the comedy of Marrow, because just like his simple like sincerity, actually, and the reaction of the camera crew is just great. You know, it feels like you have this hard boiled monologuer, and then you have just like all the other people who are just driven like become so cynical by the film industry. Just like any story is just considered hackneyed.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, we have not even scraped the surface until we get to Starry Eyes.
Which actually is the next one on my list.
Oh, this is going to be a treat.
Go for
it.
Yeah, Starry Eyes. Next one on my list here. I only recently watched it, but it's an amazing movie. Honestly, I think it is very slightly overhyped. And I think that took away a little bit from it, because I went in there with like, oh my God, this is going to be like the best movie in existence, just from all the positive press. And I mean, it is a very, very, very good movie. But I think that did take away a little bit from it for me personally. But it's a very novel plot, really great acting. I especially liked the acting of Alex Esso, who plays Sarah. She did an amazing performance.
Stellar.
And it's basically about this actress. She's trying to break into the industry. She's out in Hollywood. She's waiting tables. Stereotypically, she gets this break. She gets this big opportunity, and it's not what she expected. Let's put it that way. And it's just it spirals way out of control as this very dark, underground, supernatural elements to this industry become apparent to her.
Yeah, it's audition, and then it becomes Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
And just like the thing I loved about this film was that I've been a special effects artist for like about 8 years now, and this film struck home in a very uncomfortable way, because I've been to those parties, I know those people, and when she's at the Hooters knockoff in the movie, Taters, was it?
Yeah.
And she was doing the Tater song. Those two guys who look like Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, like after like a bad bender. I just felt sick to my stomach, and I was squirming for like 2 hours in this film. And the thing about this film is, and and we'll talk about Babadook later. I know we meant to talk about it earlier, but the thing about this film is it could actually be seen as like a fantastical version of what's really going on, because it is about a woman. She gets her big step, and in some way she literally stomps on everybody she knows to get to the top, because there's this very telling like moment in the scene, like she gets the big role, and a homeless person grabs her arm and she pushes him away and yells, "Do you know who I am?" And just and it was just it's a great film about just like and I still think it's a problem, like it's like how women are treated in Hollywood, and for the love of God, when I saw the ending, I could not help but think of the song by Swans, the Celebrity Lifestyle, which is just like if you listen to that song, it's pretty much like a summary of the whole film.
I don't think I've heard that song before. What's the name of it?
It's by Swans, and it's Celebrity. Is it Celebrity Style? One sec. I'll text it to you later, and I'll put it up on the notes when we post this.
If it's not like metal of some kind, I probably haven't heard it.
I say Swans is a lot like Godspeed You Black Emperor, like very grim, slow alternative music.
Okay. I'll check them out. Anyway, as far as Starry Eyes, it did have really good effects. Well, honestly, with some of the other films on here, I mean, like Flowers in particular, I mean that was the entire spectacle of it. So it wasn't as in your face as that. So I guess I was a little bit jaded from some of the other films on the list. But I mean, they were all very realistic. Nothing It was all practical effects for sure. I
Oh
saw
yeah.
that actually reminded me, some of the later moments reminded me a little bit of Contracted. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't a big fan of Contracted, but I see what you're getting at. But as far as like special effects, I mean, like there was this scene where like she pretty much, I won't give it away to the viewers, like she pretty much full blown pulls off a mountain from Game of Thrones on this person's head, and just like I had flashbacks from the fire extinguisher scene revert. What's oh no, I'm drawing a blank now. In Reversal, I have to never mind. I'll worry about that later. Sorry.
I mean, it's been huge. I mean, for an indie film, I mean, I'm looking at it right now on IMDb. This film right now is in the top 5,000. Right now for that's amazing for an independent film. That's incredible.
And like I said,
so,
I heard nothing about this film, and just like it just popped out of the blue. I'm just saying, like you beautiful bastard, you did it.
Yeah, and yeah, out of the blue, and now it's everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. It's insane. And I mean, like I said, unfortunately, I think that is what took away from it a little bit, because it just gets your expectations ratcheted up that high. But it is an incredible movie, and it is a must-see for sure.
And also too, I'd say this film is actually an excellent pairing with Birdman, actually, because it is like a huge dismantling of just like celebrity and filmmaking, and also Maps of the Stars, which if it was actually like a full blown horror film, I'd put it up on the list as well.
Actually, I thought it was it actually went pretty well with one of the movies that I'm executive producing. You obviously haven't seen this one; it's not out yet. It's called "Be My Cat," a film for Anne, which deals a lot with movies, and kind of is it's a movie about movies, and that it's very into the kind of into the industry. I mean, basically, this one, my movie is about the one I'm executive producing. It's actually Romania's first ever found footage horror movie. And it's about this Romanian guy who sees the movie The Dark Knight, and he becomes obsessed with Anne Hathaway and wanting to make a movie starring her. That's where the title comes from, Be My Cat, a film for Anne. And so he basically tricks these three local actresses into making this movie with him, and they think that it's going to be an actual movie. And in actuality, though, it's basically just test footage, and he's making all this so he can send it to Anne in an effort to convince her to come to Romania to be in his movie. But unfortunately for the actresses, he's batshit crazy, and things just go completely out of control. But I thought it was, it just brought that to mind. It's very similar in that it's just almost an analysis, almost a satire of what the movie industry can be.
You heard him, people. Follow him on Facebook. I've been following like some like the early progression of this film, and and good luck with that. But but hold on to that. I'm gonna ask you to plug in your stuff later. So
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good though. So yeah, any last thoughts about old Starry Eyes?
Yeah, that's about it for that one. What do you got next?
All right, next one I have is Late Phases. Well, like one like the few werewolf films that have been popping up. Are you familiar with this one?
Yes, I am. I did see that one. I think it was a better werewolf movie than has been released of late. Absolutely.
Yeah, this film is like a very divided audience on this film. I mean, it's called Last Phases, but I prefer to call it Charles Bronson versus the Wolfman. And but yeah, because like the thing about this film is it's one of those films where like the horror element is not important. Long story short about this film, it's about an aging blind Vietnam veteran who is put into a retirement community by his son. And this guy, the veteran character who the story is revolving around, he is to be nice, he is a very difficult man.
Yeah.
very very 1980s, difficult, hard-bitten, grizzled. Like he's
If you
grizzled
look up
incarnate.
if you look up crotchety old guy in the dictionary, it's this
Oh
dude.
yeah, I agree. He's borderline unlikable.
uh,
And no, hell, he isn't like hell. For most of the film, he's using a shovel, a trench shovel, as a walking stick,
yeah.
and that says it all. And the idea of it is he's in this community, and no one really cares about these retired folk, and there are these animal attacks. It turns out it's and this just shows you old grizzled bastard knows immediately it's a fucking werewolf attack, and but I say the horror element of this film is actually almost not important, because what this
Right.
film is really about, and this is a film that I actually think is interesting, because you see films like this a lot in the 80s. It's pretty much about men interacting with men.
Mm-hmm.
You have these three different characters. You have the main character, who's a grizzled, violent, hard-bitten, hard-drinking war veteran. You have this other character who's a priest, who's chosen the path of civility and kindness. And you have the son, who's just part of the new generation, who almost denies both of them and just wants to just be his own person. And just these three characters interacting and coming to terms of what they are and their shortcomings, it's almost beautiful.
I mean, there was great character development in this movie. Great character interaction, great acting, great story. Honestly, the thing that killed it for me, and I feel almost petty saying this, I think I've been spoiled by movies like Dog Soldiers.
I know where you're going.
The werewolf costumes. I like that they went with practical effects, but it ruined it for me.
I got something to say back to that when you're done. But I felt like actually with this, I mean, it felt less it did not feel important to me, because mind you, they were decent, they were passable, but they weren't the best. I mean, they were doing great werewolf effect, excellent werewolf effects, back in Monster Squad that surpassed this. But I felt much less these were not monsters per se. These were throwbacks. The idea of almost inner demons, if I might be all meta and all that. And it's almost coming to terms. And if you see it like that, if you feel that way, I think it actually helps the film. And just I felt and I have to say, any film where I start hating the main character, and I almost love the character, and I'm sad to see him, and I'm sad to see him go. That's just you did a good job. You did an excellent job with your writing.
Well, absolutely, it was a great movie. I mean, let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. There are not a lot of good werewolf movies. Most of them suck.
Wolf Cop was okay.
But I mean, this one was a good one. It's just I just couldn't put it in my top 10. But it was definitely a good one. Absolutely, I did enjoy it as a film overall. I will say that.
Werewolves, John Landis said it best. They're the schmucks of the Hollywood monsters.
Yeah.
There
were actually a few pretty good attempts this year. I'm not going to name names. I did get sent 2 different screeners for very low budget indie werewolf movies that were done in the past year. They made very valiant efforts. It was really great to see that people are putting an interest into that type of mythos. It's just the nature of the beast, though. It's especially hard to make a good werewolf movie when you don't have a budget, just because of the special effects that are required to pull it off. I mean, basically, with the bloodshed, we have the philosophy: if we don't like it, we don't give it bad press. So
that's actually a goal I want to make about this show too. There are so many great films. Give them attention. Don't attack the bad, because it only gives attention to the bad. All right, so that's what I'd say about late phases. So what's your next flick?
Let's see here. My next one is Pieces of Talent. This is another one. This was one of the top 10 nominations for the Golden Rake Awards. I think it finished out. It was in the top 5. It was either 4 or 5. I know they got the streaming deal.
I saw it on streaming, and actually, I was there and I saw the screening of it when it swept up the awards in the New York Horror Film Festival 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, they've gotten a lot of awards. Absolutely, it's a very interesting movie. It's another movie that has to do with movies. It's about this guy who's basically he's a director. He's basically an insane director. He's trying to make this art film, and honestly, I don't even know how to accurately give a plot synopsis for this movie. It's really kind of batshit crazy. It's just a great watch. Pretty solid performances. A lot of twists and turns. A lot of stuff you're not going to see coming. I really do highly recommend it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw I only saw a lot of key scenes of it. I saw it on streaming, and actually it's at a time when I was watching a lot of films back to back while in my studio. So even though I watched it, honestly I let a lot of it pass over me. But I want to give it a second try and give it a second watch.
Okay, since I can't come up with a good synopsis, you mind if I read the synopsis off of IMDb just so people who are listening can get a feeling of what this movie's about?
Hey, go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so story centers around Charlotte, a struggling young actress who can't catch a break in an effort to support herself and her helpless mother. Charlotte holds a job as a cocktail waitress at a seedy local strip club and hates every minute of it. During a cigarette break late one evening, she witnesses an altercation between an overzealous bouncer and an unfortunate passerby, David. David makes movies and gives Charlotte's career interests a friendship quickly develops. Soon enough, David mentions a project he has in the works that she would be perfect for, and an excited Charlotte agrees to take part. She has no idea what she's signed up for.
Dun, dun, dun.
There's some really wacky scenes in this movie. There's some of them. There's one scene in particular that's just really out there. That's just done to just emphasize just how nuts David is.
I saw the trailers, and
interesting is that David, the guy David, is David Long is the name of the character, and he's played by David Long, who is the name of the actor and actually the writer of the film.
Yeah, I think actually at the New York Horror Film Festival, I think that he did win for best writing. I think. Well, no, it was either that or Found, but I think it might have been Pieces.
Take a look. What has he done?
I forgot.
Let's see. Actually, no, he's just done. Pieces of Talent is the only other thing he's written besides the upcoming follow-up, A Missing Piece. So he actually, this was his first writing credit.
So Pieces, Missing Pieces 2, Missing Boogaloo, yes. So, anything else you want to add to that film?
No, that's about it. What else you got?
All right, so the last one on my list is Afflicted, a film that I was really surprised from because, to be honest, it suffers from horrible DVD box-itis. And, I saw this film, and it's another found footage film, and just great year for found footage films. And it is about two best friends. One of them has a condition. I believe it is he has a blood vessel that is ready to burst. And when that happens, heart. Okay, I thought it was a blood vessel. Sorry about that. But heart condition.
It might have been his brain. I don't know, something like that. Yeah.
Either way, he gonna die, and he decides to do his dream and travel across the world, travel abroad, with his best friend and record it and put it online. And what happens is something happens to him. I don't want to say what because I was surprised by it. Genuinely surprised. Something happens to him that gives him what he thinks at the time are special abilities. And things go very bad very quickly for the two. And the beauty about this film is when I see films like romance films, like films about best friends, especially in American films, I don't feel like they're actually friends. They're ready to either kill each other or they're monsters. Well, that no pun intended because we're doing a horror podcast. But with these two, they are such good friends, and the two actors hit it out of the park. And when what happens, it is so heartbreaking, so depressing that like I felt for these two. And but what's great about this film is like what it does with found footage. Like it I mean, I don't know how they did a lot of these shots. Like they're like full blown like parkour scenes that put like that final like that put that segment of VHS viral to shame. And just like I don't know how they did it. I mean, honestly, I saw it on VOD, so I didn't see any extras. But that and also at the very end, just like it almost becomes a superhero origin film at the very end. And it's just like like I said, I don't want to give it away because the less you know about going into this film, the better. Because I knew nothing, and I was blown away. And what are your? You saw this film, right?
Oh, absolutely, and it's actually one of the ones on my list, and it is an incredible film. Definitely one of the best ones from last year. I think one of the things that you mentioned the very convincing friendship between the two characters. I think one of the reasons for that is they are actually friends. Those are the writers and the directors of the movie. They actually star in it as well. They wrote it, they directed it, and they starred in it. And
a bit of a connection.
Oh yeah, they definitely have. They've definitely got some, an actual personal relationship there for sure. I would say. And I would definitely say it's got a. I think it was the best. Yeah, I'm going to say it's definitely the best found footage film from last year for sure.
I have to agree.
No questions asked.
I mean, I'm very partial to like Mrs. Jones because like the sheer weirdness, but I enjoyed Afflicted so much, and I definitely want to see it again like in the next few months.
Oh, absolutely. I think it is a movie that does have a lot of. It's very rewatchable. You could definitely see it multiple times.
Oh, and also to the listeners, like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but it really does give like new life, new bite, if you will, to what we thought was a dead genre of monster character.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a new twist. It's you mentioned already you didn't like Contracted so much, but that was that was a very. I'm going to say that this again. I won't mention what creature we're talking about here, but this does similarly just novel twist to a very well-known creature like Contracted did for zombies. Like you might not even, again, like Contracted, you might not even realize what creature you're dealing with until well into the movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know Contracted was a zombie movie until the very end.
And I actually thought that Afflicted was almost like either a mutant film or like a supernatural film. Because I say, just that stupid, bloody box art. That's what I would have probably seen the film earlier if it was just for that box art.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. I mean, the box art really doesn't make much sense until you see the movie.
Yes, I say it was clever, but it wasn't enough for me.
Right. I mean, you don't even know what that is until you see the scene that where that happens. You have no idea what the box. I mean, we can go ahead and describe the box art. It's basically the back of a bald guy's head, and there's like some messed up scar on the back of it. And you have no idea what the significance of that is.
What, I thought it was a box art to Michael Bay's Armageddon.
So that's so that's Afflicted.
Yeah, so that's all I got to say about it.
That's the last one on your list?
That's the last one on my list. What about you?
Okay, so I still got three more.
Oh dear.
I got the last winner of the Golden Rake Awards. All Hell Breaks Loose. Have you seen this one yet?
No, I haven't, but I really want to see that.
This one is just an amazing grindhouse throwback. Very, it's just meant to be purposely sleazy, like something you would see in like a drive-in theater way back when. I think that I've actually described this movie as I think it would be a good companion piece for Quentin Tarantino's Grindhouse duology. You could definitely watch them back to back to back. Planet Terror, Death Proof, All Hell Breaks Loose. I think it would make a great viewing session. But basically, it's about this just he looks like such a nerdy dude. I forget if it's his fiance or if it's his newlywed wife, but she gets kidnapped by a satanic biker gang, and now he needs to try and go and save her with the help of a cowboy who may or may not be God. And, and there's some pretty good acting. There's a lot. There are definitely some comedy elements to it. Not necessarily like out there just like slapstick, but some definitely just like ridiculous moments that definitely will make you chuckle. It's just overall a really great movie. I especially enjoyed the acting of this one of the bikers. I forget what his name was. But have you seen the movie Psycho Cop?
Yes, I have actually.
I actually like those movies just because of the Psycho Cop. Just because he's funny. And
just brings I think of it as brings more to the role than it deserves.
Yeah. And this biker, he reminds me so much of the actor who plays Psycho Cop. It's not even funny. For a moment, I actually checked IMDb to see if it was the same actor, which wouldn't have even made any sense because those movies were made like 20 years ago, and they wouldn't have, I'm sure that guy doesn't even look anything like that anymore. But
hey man, good skincare.
What's that?
Good skincare, exfoliate.
It's uncanny, but it's a great movie. It was actually this one. There's a special place in my heart because it was the first pre-release screener that we were ever given at thebloodshed.com. So that was a pretty big milestone for us as a website.
Right, awesome.
That's what I have for All Hell Breaks Loose. Next one, it's kind of a cheat to put it on this list, but it's something that you're going to find with indie movies is that they have releases. They have multiple releases that can take place across several years.
Yes.
And this one did just have it's been out in some form or another for a few years now, but did just have its stateside DVD release last year. I'm talking about Found.
Yes, I saw this from a while ago.
Yeah, this one it's an amazing movie. Again, it's a bit of a cheat because it was actually, I think its first release at like a festival was way back in 2012. But finally got DVD release here stateside, 2014 in the fall. This is probably one of the, I'm not going to say it even surpasses Starry Eyes as far as indie success of recent years. Everyone knows about Found. People are going insane about Headless coming out. It's
tell them why about what's the significance of Headless actually, or when you get to it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this Found is about a little kid who finds out his big brother's a serial killer, and basically it's called Found because he finds the severed head in his brother's closet. And that's what his brother's MO is. He takes the heads of his victims and keeps them in a bowling bag in the closet until he disposes of them. And he gets this from a movie called that he basically got from a rental place. It's a movie that doesn't actually exist. Well, I guess it does now, but it's called Headless, and it's just they show a few clips of it in the movie Found, and now they're making it into an actual movie. It's just supposed to be this really I don't know how, like extreme gory retro horror type movie, and it just influences his brother into becoming this serial killer. And the acting is amazing. I love the talent that the older brother displays. He comes across so deadly, and at the same time he still cares for his brother, and it's just an incredible movie. I'm sure you've seen this one. What did you think of it?
I guess I did, and I say I enjoy the subject matter because the subject matter in general reminds me a lot of like Year Zero's John Carpenter, because like the whole film is pretty much about like I think it was either him or David Cronenberg that said a viper pit surrounded by a white picket fence, which is pretty much like what the film is. It's about like just this completely just rotten to the core family, and just like the fallout of what would become of that, you know. And in this case, a serial killer and and another brother who is just I would even say he's so morally ambiguous. He doesn't really know how to deal with the situation.
Yeah, I mean,
And
what can you expect? Absolutely.
mhm. And I say I liked the film, but I have to, like, you know, you said the acting was stellar. I thought, and because like this film was very grim dark, and like I said before, I love feel bad films, but I felt at times like the acting was just so like over the top. It made me chuckle a little bit, and but like I say, you know, I enjoy intensity. I enjoy over the top performances. But like I just felt like it was just like maybe like a little bit too much. Like I think if they just pulled back just a little bit, because like I hear so many people, like the thing that drew me to the film originally was just how shocking it was, the ending, I mean.
Yeah.
And when I saw the ending, I said to
Absolutely.
myself, that was a thing. And I said even like the final line made me chuckle. But I said, not saying this is a bad film, but but I said, you know, I just think that actually, you know, we do need films like this. Like I said, you know, it may not be one of my top 10 favorite of the year, but I feel like just like to almost like progress like the serial killer slasher genre, and I would consider this a slasher film. We do need films like this.
Oh, definitely. And you can't argue with you cannot argue with the originality of it. It's a very, very creative concept for sure. Nothing else out there like it.
And the dialogue is top notch. I'll give it that too. The dialogue was top notch.
And I mean, it's almost like a coming of age story in a way too, you know.
Mhm.
And so to put that with the serial killer thing, it's very. I mean, I loved it. My fiance, she loved it too. It's just a great movie. So that's found, and now I'm down to my last movie on the list.
Mhm.
This one is Hornet, Sting, and the Hell It's Caused.
Dustin, I love you so much.
Put out by Dustin Wade Mills. People have called him the modern-day Cronenberg. Actually, I've just started watching some of his movies. I like him a little bit better than Cronenberg, although I might be a little bit biased at this point because
Really?
Cronenberg kind of pissed me off with some recent comments he's made about the validity of independent movie reviewers.
Oh dear,
but,
hit a nerve there.
but it's this one, unfortunately, it actually, in some circles, it would not be considered a full-length movie. It's just under 60 minutes in length, which means it actually would not have been valid submission to the Golden Rake Awards. But I mean, he has a extreme talent for just doing amazing movies on next to nothing.
Excellent homebrew horror.
Absolutely. We are talking micro budget here.
Literally made out, like when people say like made in your garage, he literally makes these films out of stuff he finds in the garage.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell this is just the entire movie is done in one hotel room and a house. And basically the plot is that this girl is she gets basically abducted, and she's held in this attic, and this individual basically she does they do these pictures for clients, and it's a very twisted film, and but some of the dialogue is amazing. It's so well written. And the acting of the one character, I think it's out. See, they don't actually say the names of the characters in the movie. So looking at IMDb makes it a little bit difficult, especially since neither of the actresses have their face headshots up. But I'm thinking it's Allison Egan. Her acting was phenomenal. She came across so twisted. And it's just a head trip. This, I mean, one of my writers put out a list of movies to watch while stoned. This is a movie that I think would cause some serious freakouts.
Yeah, I could see that, and Dustin's film library in general, you know.
Yeah. So it's extremely twisted, and it's just something that it's a subgenre I'm getting really into right now. Is these underground, gory art type films that are just really twisted, and I think I found a new favorite subgenre.
Yeah.
Between this and Flowers, these these two films were probably my favorites from last year.
And yeah, but as far as Dustin's films, I mean, I really enjoy them because I think I've been wondering put my finger on it, what I enjoy about his flicks, and I think that what it really does is it's how I remember, mind you, how I remember Trauma and Full Moon when I was a kid.
Mm.
That's just like that kind of like homebrewed, you know, like gross, grimy, you know, but there's something it's just something just so engrossing. Well, it's gross and engrossing. That's pretty much what it is. And but my one complaint about Dustin is, dude, you make films way too fast. You know, I want to have time to digest, man. You know, I have a whole pile of this film I want to see, and just you know,
I think he put out 4 films last year.
Yeah, and he's working on he's always posting on his Facebook. You know, of course, I just gave it away. You know, friends on Facebook, and he's always posting new things. Always a new project. I mean, dude, when do you sleep?
That's ridiculous. That's amazing that you say that, because the review of that's one thing that's for some reason he does not actually put up synopses on his IMDb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the opening sentence of the review that's displayed here. It's a well-known fact that Dustin Mills, the director of The Hornet Sting, doesn't sleep.
Oh dear. Well, great minds think alike.
Yeah. I do want to say though, he has a very interesting extremes, because on the one hand he does these really twisted, trippy, just messed up, genius art films, and on the other hand he does the really out there, actually kind of humorous, the stuff with puppets.
Yes.
Which is interesting. So it's two interests of his.
Which, you know, it isn't a bad thing. I said, you know, I think he just feels like an interesting little niche that just has been a gap that's been left since the late '80s. And you know, I think that he's you know, I wish more people would know about him.
What's interesting is that the puppet thing is that it's something he never gets completely away from. Even in this movie, there's one segment where he gets into these it's a flashback that's done using this interesting form of CGI. Another film of his that I've seen is what was it? Her Name Was Torment, which has a puppet representing this one entity. So it's interesting what he does with puppets. I've never seen anything like it before.
And even with Skinless, which I thought was gonna be mostly just about Skinless Pete for all you loyalists out there, but even then he threw in a few wonderfully rubbery puppets in there.
I haven't seen that one yet. It's on my list. I
say it's my favorite. It's my favorite Dustin film. Mm-hmm.
Well, I look forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's making Her Name Was Torment 2.
Yep, I've seen a few I've seen a few stills from the dailies, and yeah, looking pretty cool. You know, on top of his game.
I mean, I'm very much looking forward to interviewing him. I just contacted him yesterday. We're going to work out a date at some point to get an article out, asking him some questions.
Nice. Tell him Tony said hi.
Oh, absolutely. Will do. And yes, so that's the last on my list.
All right, and yeah, my list is done too. And I know we meant to talk about this earlier, but I'd like to talk a little bit more about which was my favorite film of the year, Babadook. And again, like just like the impact this film has actually caused. And I know you started, and we kind of like just like as we started getting the podcast together, we kind of like abruptly ended. But what do you think is just like this was so successful?
I think it's just it almost it takes the paranormal trend that's going on right now and just completely changes it and makes it completely fresh with a completely novel idea and concept, a very interesting antagonist. But really, I think the thing is with this movie is it's about the characters. It's
Yes.
not. It's almost really more of a drama than a horror movie. The Babadook itself, I think, serves as more of a plot device, where the actual film is about this relationship between a mother and a child. And I think it's a very, very realistic, very, very true representation of a relationship between a mother and a child, of how it can be. I mean, it's not all dressed up and made all pretty. I mean, there's some real issues, but you can tell that she really cares about this kid. And
I'm gonna love you no matter what. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say one of the complaints about the movie is that kid. That kid is annoying as hell.
We got to talk about that. We got to talk about that, man. Because I think it's the exact opposite. Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because
I think it's an accurate representation of a kid. Some kids are annoying as hell sometimes. So again, it's very true to reality. So I mean, where some people thought the kids' representation took away from the movie, I think it adds to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it was just all. I mean, there's nothing that they did wrong in that film. Let me just put it that way. It's a great movie. I mean, the guy who made Exorcist says it's the scariest movie of all time. I don't know about that, but it's definitely one of the best movies of recent years.
All right, so like my 2 cents about the flick. So first I have to say, remember I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Honeymoon, like the fear of losing your memory. And I know a lot of people in my circle who suffer from mental illness. And I've had family members who have died from Alzheimer's. And I feel, while watching Babadook, this is possibly one of the best representations of what mental illness is, possibly in film history. Because just the whole idea, like these two people, a mother and a son who both suffer from mental illness, and you can't get rid of it. You can't stop it. You know, mental illness is the Babadook. You know, you can't get rid of it. You can learn to cope with it. You can even put it away and forget about it, but it'll still always be there. And I feel of these two characters, of like both the mother and the son, they're both very mentally ill people, but just like and on top of that too, they can't depend on anybody else. So their best cure is each other. And what you're saying about the kid, I felt like mind you, I think they're like one of the best worst examples of a child in a horror film is actually the kid from Burning Bright, because he was very mentally disabled, and there were times I said, if you just feed that kid to the tiger, this will be a much shorter and more fun film. But with this kid in Babadook, I feel like he was genuinely scared, and he's genuinely terrified of everything. He thinks there's monsters everywhere. And I cannot help but feel like, on one hand, under any situation, I'd say, kid, you're annoying. But I think to myself, someone please help this kid. He's in trouble. And at the end, when he's almost the hero of the film, that was beautiful. And just that. And I don't know what to say about the film. Let's just talk about Mr. Babadook, the monster of the film, for a second, because I think he is one of the most effective modern monsters in recent film history, because there's just this feeling about him, like he is not out to cause you actual bodily harm. His motives, like he's just a creature. We don't know where he comes from. Is he supernatural? Is he a figment of imagination? He is such an alien creature, and his motives are so this is going to sound pretentious, mysterious. It's terrifying because you don't know what his goal is. I would
Yeah.
rank him as if you've seen like League of Gentlemen, like Papa Lazarou, or when in like Shadow of the Vampire, that version of Max Shrek,
Hmm.
just as being it doesn't want to hurt you physically. It has darker motives.
Right. And I mean the pop-up book. I
Oh,
mean,
that.
there's been haunted movies. There's been haunted video games. All these things used as plots. A
Mhm.
haunted pop-up book. That's a new device for sure. And I really liked. I liked that book. The writing in that was just eerie and creepy.
And I was
And
so pissed off I missed out on the limited printed edition of that.
yeah, I was just about to ask if you heard they actually made it.
I missed out
Um,
on it, and I was so disappointed.
oh, so they actually are done making them. That's too bad.
It was to
Um,
raise funds actually to help distribute the film worldwide.
oh wow.
Hmm.
So let me ask you this: why do you think the film was so successful?
I think it's several things. I think actually one of the biggest things is that it is. This might sound a bit cheesy, but the idea of a woman director and a woman lead in a horror film got a lot of people's attention.
Hmm.
And like I say, I know it's like this, it feels like almost at times like I say, this year's Oscars. I wish at least she got a nod, the director of
Yeah,
Babadook. And also, and also this woman, and also this director too. She came from the school of Lars von Trier, and which just blew my mind. She's also very cinema literate, and I think that also too, with Babadook, it is like one of those circumstances where word of mouth was actually the greatest strength of the film because there was a short film and then it became a feature, and I feel like if anything, this is one of the best examples of what the horror community can do to find something that is obscure and make it mainstream.
absolutely.
Hmm.
I mean, you get the right press, yeah, you can go far. Viral marketing for one, it's genius. I mean, look what happened. Let's say, for example, I mean, look what happened. What happened with Blair Witch?
Yes,
I mean, that's the right marketing can win everything for you.
exactly.
Absolutely.
And say what you will about that film, it was one of my favorite cinematic going experiences.
Hmm. I unfortunately did not have the opportunity to see it in theaters. I wish I had.
It was a bonding experience with my father. So, hmm,
But you have anything else to say on Babadook?
I don't know where even to seriously, if you got me started, I could talk about this thing all night. But yeah, we've been talking for a long time, and but yeah, I think I just want to move on. We talked about our films. Is there anything else you want to add about Babadook or any of the other films you talked about?
Not off the top of my head.
Hmm. And so, on that note, is there anything for 2015 you're excited about?
I'm looking forward to a few things. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to Headless coming out, as I mentioned.
Hmm. We'll
One
see how
film
that goes.
one film I definitely have my eye on is Unfriended. That
Yeah, I heard about that film.
well, I take it you're not exactly thrilled.
And it sounds like it's trying to be the Ring or those J horror technology run amok things. But mind you, I'm one of those people that I love to be surprised. If it's something that I think is be bad and it turns out being great, I'm double happy. So I'm always willing to eat all the crow in the world if I'm wrong.
Well, for one, I think it's insane how much press it's getting ahead of its release. For one,
Mhm.
that's one thing for sure that I'm excited about. Is just that's a good sign to me. For another, I am a sucker for horror movies that have something to do with the internet. I love the internet. I live on the internet.
You and I, we
Big,
depend on the internet. Mhm.
yeah, I'm a big tech geek. Just love technology in general. So when there's a horror movie that has something to do with it, I always watch it. Like The Den, I loved that movie. Smiley, hit or miss. I did like what it tried to do. But there's been a few over the years, and I always make a point of watching them. So I'm definitely looking forward to Unfriended. As far as what else is coming out this year, I think one of them that's interesting. I don't know if you've heard much about. One of them is a slasher film. Have you heard of Charlie's Farm?
Yes, I have actually. I heard some things about that one.
The thing that I'm looking forward to, and it's just like a little childish fanboy reason why I'm looking forward to this one, is just for the antagonist. The size of this man. This is the biggest slasher villain in film history. This man is, I forget what his name is off the top of my head, but this guy is a former bodybuilder. He's 7'3", like 350 pounds of pure muscle. This guy, Kane Hodder, is one of the actors in this movie. So, Jason Voorhees is going to be in this movie, and this guy is going to tower over Jason Voorhees. Kane Hodder is, I think he's my height. He's 6'3". So this guy's going to be a full foot taller than Jason Voorhees.
And I'm 5'4". He could eat me, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very simplistic reason, but I'm definitely just looking forward to it, just for the spectacle of it. One other movie. Have you heard of Rage? Midsummer's Eve?
I heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
It's a slasher movie. It's actually got its official release right now. One of the things that's just interesting is not the movie itself, but what they're trying to do right now. And I think it's very interesting. They did a crowdfunding campaign that did something I've never seen before. The crowdfunding campaign was to fund the release of the film, and most of the perks, starting pretty low, I think at $20 and up, you give at least $20, you become an independent distributor of this movie.
That's interesting.
But they're going, and I actually did it. So coming, I think May, I'm going to basically get a specific link that I can give out, and people can go to it. And if they rent the movie through that link, I actually will get a commission.
Not shabby. Wow.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone doing that before, and it's definitely a very interesting idea. Definitely a way to get the audience involved, really get people interested in the movie, and get people actually interested in the behind the scenes type stuff, like marketing and production and that type of thing. And I think it's very novel concept.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, like like the whole from what you're saying, it sounds like a very interesting way of doing it. Of distributing film, and we'll see how that goes.
So those are the ones I'm looking forward to this coming year. What do you have?
On my end, like a lot of my films I'm excited about have already been made, but they haven't been distributed yet. Like just recently, It Follows has just been released. And I've been looking forward to that. And like it's weird because I hear like it's a very polarizing film. I hear people saying like this is the next step in modern horror, and other people are just saying meh. But I'll just watch it and be the judge and try to be as unbiased as possible. I'm also looking forward to the release of Cub, which I'm excited about, and just pretty much like a modernization of Lord of the Flies. And like I've seen the promo pictures, I've seen the Mondo poster on Mondo.com, and just this looks like a very cool idea for a film. Also, I don't know because they keep pushing it back, which is like, and I have like a few few gripes actually about things I'm looking forward to, because I don't know. Can you tell me, since you're kind of like a journalist in the industry, what is going on with Harbinger Down? Because I hear they want to get out this year, but it's being pushed for some weird reason, or
I don't know what is going on with that movie. I got in touch with those guys back in, I think it was October. I talked to them, and they said that I asked if they could maybe provide me with a screener, and they said they could. They were hoping to maybe get me one as soon as November, and I still haven't gotten the screener. I think something happened. Something has happened with that movie. I think something has gone wrong.
I want it to work.
That is what I'm thinking. Do you know what the story behind why they made that movie is?
Oh yeah, because like they like the company has been like screwed over and over, like all their work being replaced with CGI. The Thing, Percy Jackson, you name it. And
Yeah.
and they're talented artists, and like for life of me, I want this to work. I not to like pat myself on the back, but I was part of the Kickstarter campaign, and I thought like please get it to work, guys. Come on, I want this to be the real thing, like modernization that was just like just punched us in the face and gave us the finger, which was the remake of the thing that we got.
Yeah. I mean, and everyone loves Lance Henriksen. I'll watch anything with Lance Henriksen.
He can make anything interesting. You give him a cereal box, have him read the back, and that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Also a film that actually I funded for Kickstarter, which no one knows about, but I'm very excited about, is Strange Nature. It's being directed by the guy who did the effects artist for Dead Girl, and is like a modernization. It's a modern nature on a muck film, kind of like in this national park, and something went wrong, and all the wildlife is mutating. From like frogs to wolves, and what's interesting about it is just that the Kickstarter campaign, and this is being done now, but like when this was a Kickstarter, like it set goals of if we make this much money, we'll hire these people, and like now they have like people from the Upright Citizens Brigade starring in it, and I have like this to be interesting because like it just feels like one part homage, parody, and flat out horror, because I've seen like the stills of the animatronics, and these things look like absolutely freaky, and we'll see how that goes. Like it's done, it's in post, and it's either gonna be released sometime this year or early next year. And and then I have like one last gripe, and I promise not to complain because this film upset me to no end. I saw Clown finally 2 days ago, and oh boy, as great as the final creature was, everything about the film was bad. Just like everything didn't work. What was done, actually, if anything, like it's a great example of like why all the film. That's a great way to cap this episode of the podcast. All the things that happened in this film, in Clown, all the things that it got wrong, were the reasons why all the films that we put on our list were great. Like they're the ones that got it right, while Clown failed, I think.
I think Eli is having a little bit of a slump right now. Unfortunately,
but it's not his film. He wasn't the director of the film. Mm-hmm.
I know he didn't direct it, but he did act in it. I think I don't know. I almost want to say he's just having some bad luck between that movie, him acting in that movie, and trying to release Green Inferno. I think he just didn't have a good year last year.
Mm. And I'll be the first to say, I'm not the biggest Eli fan. I'll be honest about that.
Although one thing that I'm actually excited about, and this is actually, I almost forgot about this movie. This is another one that I'm looking forward to the release of this coming year. Have you heard of Carver?
Yes, I have.
It's a retro slasher movie, directed by a 14-year-old girl. That's incredible. That's actually going to be one of the things we have up on our site soon. I did get to send some questions to young Emily. So we're going to get those answers back, and I'll be able to post that up. But she's already working on a new project called Violet, and it's being produced by Eli Roth.
I heard about that too, also. Mm-hmm.
I think that's actually really cool that he is helping out this young filmmaker. I think that's incredible. I think that's amazing. I think that's really cool of him to do.
I agree with that too, actually, because it actually warms my heart a little bit when someone who started off independent became mainstream and tried to find new talent. I mean, like I said, as much as I'm not a fan of Eli, I do give him serious points for doing this. And but yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I hope that Carver works out, I really do. And because I saw another film last year, what's it called, My Sucky Teen Romance, which was by another young female director, very young. And I thought that was a lot of fun, and we'll see how this goes. Now another young woman of that talent.
Yeah, I mean, definitely something I'm going to keep my eyes on.
Mm-hmm.
It's
All
one
right.
of those. It's one of those films that it's just going to be what's going on behind the scenes that makes you want to see the movie so bad.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. And I hope that 2015 is as good a year, if not better than 2014. So yeah, so let's wrap this thing up. So how do people on the interwebs find you, and what are you working on next?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me, and you can visit my website. We have a contact page on there. It's theblood-shed.com. We've recently, I'm looking to other sites and basically doing a monkey see, monkey do type thing. I see that, sites like Bloody Disgusting, Dread Central, they have started actually using their sites as a production company. That is something that we have started doing ourselves. We actually have 2 films already in pre-production under the label of The Bloodshed. One of them is, Moth, which is it's our first one. It's a Hungarian movie. It's actually by the same guys who made one of the Golden Rake nominations, Bodom. Bodom was the first ever found footage movie from Hungary. This is the second, and it's about the Mothman. As far as I know, there's only really been one Mothman movie. The adaptation of the book, which really had very little to do with the book and had very mixed reception. This one have very high hopes for. I'm executive producing it, and we're putting it out under the Bloodshed label. The other one that we're working on is Nightmare Man. It's in very early stages of production right now. It has to do with just reality. Let me pull up their actual synopsis. I have not actually. I've been looking at the storyboards lately. It looks very promising. And the other thing, while I'm looking this up, I'll go ahead and mention Be My Cat again. That just had its world premiere at Fantasporto down in over in Portugal.
I didn't know it was done.
Oh yeah, it's done. It was completed last year in about 20 days. That film is amazing. I'll get back to that. Here's the synopsis for Nightmare Man real quick. It's a young man can no longer establish the difference between dreams and reality after encountering a creepy figure known as the Nightmare Man. So it's looking very promising. We're very excited about it. Now, one of the things that I'm kind of making jokes about with my friends lately is that I'm going to be setting a little bit of a goal, see if I can just produce a movie from every country of the former Soviet bloc. Because I've sort of stumbled into producing a Romanian movie and a Hungarian movie already. So I'm off to a good start on that. Be My Cat is the first ever found footage film from Romania, and it's also the first ever and only found footage film that I've been able to find. I haven't found any others. I looked and looked. That has an entire cast of professionally trained actors. When I ask people what some of the biggest gripes are about found footage, a lot of times what I hear is acting. A lot of found footage films don't have the best acting. These people, it's insane, the method acting that went into this film. The director, the writer, producer, director, and star, Adrian Toffe, not positive I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. I've only actually seen it in text before, Toffei. Insane method acting. He stayed in character for the entire 20 days that they filmed this movie.
Oh, man.
And he filmed 24 hours of footage and edited it down to 2 hours.
Wow.
It's insane, the stuff that went into this. And I mean, just with having the camera rolling that much, things were bound to happen. And with this method of acting that they're using, they really, really lived as the characters. One thing that happened a little bit of a behind-the-scenes story here, because I was in contact with him during the filming process. He would send me little clips over YouTube and things for me to see. And this actually led me to insisting that he had a clause for a contract where I would not be held legally liable for any repercussions of this movie.
Nice.
Yeah, the one actress one day, actually, in her character felt threatened to the point. Now, this movie, a lot of it is not scripted. There were plot points that they would follow, and a lot of it is improvisation. And during the one scene, her character felt threatened, and she called the police. For real. The police actually showed up, and it's in the movie. It's in the final bit of the movie. It actually makes great cinema that we can add the cops into it. But and luckily the police were understanding and actually knew a little bit about method acting and let them off with a warning. But,
that's interesting.
But it's incredible stuff behind the scenes. I mean, there were scenes that were so realistic. At one point, I actually had to get in contact with one of the actresses just to make sure that Adrian did not actually chloroform her, because I was legitimately worried for her safety.
Oh, that's great.
I'm like, are you okay?
That's so great.
It's exciting
Acting.
Movie. It was extremely well received at Fantasporto. People are saying things like he created a new genre. I cannot wait until we get some sort of distribution. He is already getting offers from DVD distributors, I understand, but we're holding out. We're trying to get a theatrical release, actually. And then the other bit of news is that my first ever film, Spirit in the Woods, was my first ever credit. I co-produced. That will be getting a DVD release this summer. It's been strictly available for streaming since, I think it's actually been about a year. Yeah, it came out for streaming last March. Heck of a marketing genius, that guy, Anthony Daniel. And he got this movie has a budget of under $10,000. He got it up onto Amazon, Google Plus, Vudu, Xbox, PlayStation. It's up on Hulu now. It's everywhere you can possibly stream a movie, basically. Just great with marketing. So I mean, that's basically what I have going on. Only thing we're planning on doing, we're going to start a YouTube series through the Bloodshed, but yeah, that's everything I got going on right now.
Oh, that's all? but definitely, good luck with your business ventures and everything. You know, I hope to see a lot more good stuff from you. You know, definitely, you know, good man. You'll help keep the plight of finding good independent horror alive. And
absolutely.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And so I want to thank you. And I want to thank the audience for listening to us. And hope you enjoyed the show. And you've been listening to Podcast Deadly Spell. We'll see you next time. And have a good evening, everybody. Anything you want to say?
Just thanks for having me. I'd love to come back if you ever want me.
Okay. Thank you, and good night.